Well, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are going to be discussing first part of our, I think, six-part series on Shad bala in Vedic astrology, and what happens when you're trying to analyze the strength of your horoscope. And the thing that happens is that you must bring in Shad bala concept to determine if a certain planet is powerful or not. Okay, so I cannot make this in one video. It's going to be a 1 hour long video otherwise, or 2 hour, and I can't do that. So today we're going to be discussing the first part of the Shad bala, which is sign placement strength just in the birth chart. Okay, so Shad bala simply means six-fold strength, meaning that there's six parts that you look as an astrologer to see if a particular planet is going to give bad results or good results in his time period, meaning its Mahadasha or its Antradasha or its Paryantradasha, because there's major period, sub period, and sub period. So that's the first part we're going to do, is the sign placement. Okay, now the concept of sign placement happens where you not only just look at an exalted planet and debilitated planet, neutral signs, Mool Trikon signs, own houses, but now when you're trying to determine the strength of a planet through sign, the degree makes a big difference, and without degree, the Shad bala part will not happen. Okay, Sun exalted in Aries, which is the first part, then Sun in its Mool Trikon sign, which is Leo, then Sun in his own sign, which is Leo. What do I mean by that? You're going to find out in degrees. Okay, then Sun in a friendly sign is that when Sun is debilitated in Libra. But like I said, why is it that Sun has a Mool Trikon sign in Leo and then his own sign or own sign of Leo? Well, we know he's exalted in Aries, but in the first 20 degrees of Leo, Sun is considered Mool Trikon, meaning that he is, instead of 100%, he is now 90%, but he's still strong. But from 20 degree to 30 degree Leo, he is considered in his own sign, meaning which is the third stage. So it's about 75 to 80%, 75 to 89% strong. Then the next one is that when Sun is in his friendly sign. Friendly signs are the sign of Moon, Jupiter, and Mars. So in Aries, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Pisces, okay, or Cancer, that's his friendly sign. So you have exalted planet, you have Mool Trikon planet, you have planets in their own sign, you have planets in neutral signs, and then you have planets that are debilitated. And remember, there's no really such thing as an enemy sign. There's no enemy sign. There's only animosity with the planet, but not their sign. So Sun is considered enemy of Saturn, but he doesn't feel like the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius is an enemy. So besides all these positions, all the rest of the sign becomes neutral to Sun. So besides like knowing the degrees of the exaltation and debilitation, Mool Trikon own sign, besides that, every other sign placement then just becomes neutral. But obviously next week I'll discuss the temporary relationship, natural relationship of planets, and how that plays a part with sign and depositor. But let me show you a chart on the screen. The chart that you see here on the screen shows you the degree where a planet is considered exalted, or when a planet is considered in its own Mool Trikon sign, or in its neutral friendly sign. So as you see on the chart, you see how Sun is exalted up to 10 degrees Aries. So up to 1 through 10 degrees in the sign of Aries, Sun is exalted. And then its Mool Trikon sign is 0 to 20 degrees in Leo. And then from 20 to 30 degrees, that's considered his own sign. Okay. And then he's debilitated from 0 to 10 degrees Libra. After that, okay, after Sun has passed 10 degrees, he's considered just in Libra, like his own sign, like an enemy sign of Libra. Okay. But there's a 3 degree shadow degree numbering as well. So if he's at 10 degree or 11 degree and he has passed that 10 degree, he's still considered debilitated because he's coming out of it. So until he passes actually the 13th degree, he's not considered like out of the bad zone. So 0 to 13, I would say, it's considered really bad zone. But 10 degrees is the max. And then from 10 above all the way to 13, he passes on with the debilitated part of Libra. And then he just goes and performs as a normal Libra. Because remember, Sun is in Libra in 1 month. So not everybody born in that time period is going to suffer this. But people between 7 and 13 degrees are really going to suffer the debilitated part of Sun. But from 0 to 10 degrees is also will be negative part. So this goes for any planet. So like you see in the chart, how you see Moon is considered exalted up to 3 degrees in Taurus. But from 3 degrees all the way to 27 degrees, it is considered, Mool Trikon sign of Moon. And then he's also considered Mool Trikon sign in Cancer, okay, or his own sign in Cancer. But that is also considered up to 10 degrees. So up to 0 to 10 degrees Cancer, Moon is considered Mool Trikon. Then 10 to 30 degrees, Moon is considered in his own sign. And his debilitated part comes in at 28 degrees Scorpio. So when he reaches that 20th degree, or I would say 26th degree, all the way up to 30th degree, he's debilitated in Scorpio. But before that, he's just in a bad situation. He's not really debilitated. There's still some strength in there. So this is how you would judge a planet through degrees now. I know I didn't mention this in my book because it would have been overwhelming for all the new beginners. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to leave that out and I'm going to discuss it in a video. So this is the first part of the strength that we're going to discuss of, how to determine if a planet is doing what, if it's in a good, strong sign placement, neutral sign placement, or really bad sign placement, okay? And even if it's an enemy sign like Saturn in Libra, up to 10 degrees, it's that debilitated enemy part of the Libra. But from 13th degree to 20th degree, he's just neutral. He's not really happy to be there, but he's comfortable. He's okay. He'll live on. So this is how you will look at these degrees, and this is the very first part of the Shad Bala concept of sixfold strength. Now let's move on to another part, which is the judging all the divisional charts, all the sign placements in all the divisional charts for your one planet. So if Sun is in Libra in your birth chart, is debilitated at 10 degrees. But what about the other sign placement where degrees doesn't count, but just the sign placement from your Saptamesh chart, Namansha chart, Dasamsha chart? All of these charts is going to equal into this one chart. So this is a double V concept, Varga Vimshopka. Okay, Varga Vimshopka is a chart that gives you maximum of 20 points in each Varga charts, meaning each divisional charts. So let's say if you're looking at this chart, the VV Varga Vimshopka chart, and you are looking at Sun, it will show you all the divisional charts from Namansha to Saptamesh to Dasamsha chart, and I'll give you 11, 10, 18, 19, 4, 3. This shows you how strong the sign placement is for each planet. So Sun might get 18 in the Lagna chart, but in Namansha chart it's receiving 4. And Namansha chart is considered, like the fruit of the tree, how sweet the fruit is. So it's better to have low in your main birth chart, like a 10 Sun, compared to having like a 20 in Namansha, compared to having 19 in Dasamsha, because that's your status, that's your authority, your career chart. So this is why you have to then judge them and add all of them up. And once you add all of them up, you divide it by all the Varga charts. Mainly I would just divide it by Dasamsha and Namansha. So you would Lagna, Namansha chart, the D9 chart, and the D10 chart, and even D7 chart. Okay, you can take these 4, add up the numbers, and divide them by 4, and you'll get the average of your planet, the average strength of your planet. Okay, so this is a very important concept. This will show you how exactly each planet is doing. And this is just the very first part of the Shad Bala concept, where you look at a sign, you look at what degree he's placed in, and then you look at, if it's exalted, not exalted, and what's his double V, the Vimshopka concept in there. So guys, this was my very first part of Shad Bala series of, finding planetary strength of signs. And next week we will do the second part of the Shad Bala series, which is going to be Bhav Bala, meaning that strength through the houses. Okay, so if you're new to my channel, subscribe below, and if you want to know where your planets are placed in and if they're in a good, exalted, debilitated signs, check out the links below. Check out my books there, Astrology at the Speed of Light and Conjunctions at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions below in the description section. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday with Ketu in Aries. Bye-bye.